welcome to episode 3 of the Indie Author Mindset podcast. It's been a very busy week for me, to say the least. I've just released book 9 in my Night in Culver House series. That's called In Plain Sight. I'm also starting to gear down for Christmas to spend a bit of time with my family, so these podcasts might start to be a little more sporadic over the next few weeks, but don't worry, I haven't gone anywhere. And as we are approaching Christmas and the new year, I want to hear from you, actually, with all of your personal roundups of 2019. So please do get in touch with me. Let me know how your year's gone. What have been your biggest challenges? Was 2019 better than 2018? What do you plan to change for 2020? And how do you feel the indie publishing landscape has shifted this year? I've got my own thoughts on that, which I am going to share over the next few episodes, but I think it's fair to say we're entering a new phase of the industry's life story. In fact, I've had, 4 separate writers contact me within the past fortnight with similar remarks and questions about things they've noticed recently regarding marketing and advertising, and they mirrored almost exactly the conclusions that I came to in about mid-October of this year, and which I think had been brewing for a little while. So more on that over the next few episodes. But if you're already a follower of the Indie Author Mindset School of Thought, I think you're going to be very pleased. So yes, please do let me know how your 2019 has been, what you've noticed, what you're planning for 2020. Send me your concerns and questions as well, and maybe we can do a bit of troubleshooting here on the podcast. So if you've had any problems or issues, or if something hasn't worked for you this year or even more recently, drop me a line and we'll explore it here on the podcast. And of course, I'm more than happy to keep your name anonymous if you prefer. Just fire me an email at podcast@indieauthormindset.com or catch me in the Indie Author Mindset Facebook group. On which note, Gemma Hatt posted in the Indie Author Mindset Facebook group this week, and she said she's loving the fact that Amazon is now including ratings without text in its review count. Feels like a Christmas bonus. Yes, this is something a couple of people have noticed recently. If you head over to Amazon, if you look at your book's product page, you will notice that the book has more star ratings showing on the product page than it's used to. And also, sometimes if you're viewing your Amazon author page, for example, the one that's generated through Author Century, you'll see a different number to what you'll see on the product page. For example, I'm looking now at my Adam Croft author page on Amazon in the UK, and it shows one of my books, Tell Me I'm Wrong, as having 989 reviews. If I then click through onto the book, it shows me 1,624 reviews. And as Gemma says, what seems to have happened there is that whereas it was only people leaving a star rating, those reviews wouldn't count towards the total, but if they left a full text review, then the star rating would count towards the total and their review would show on the website. It does seem that it might be what has happened is that they are now showing the sum total of all of the ratings, whether somebody leaves a text review or not. So if they just rate the book at the end after having read it, it seems to be showing those reviews. That's the theory at the moment, and international review ratings also seem to be included as well. So it's all a little bit up in the air about what's been going on there, but that seems to be the general consensus. But generally speaking, people are seeing higher numbers of reviews showing on their product, on their books on Amazon, and that can only be a good thing, really. And the theory that it's all of the star ratings that are showing now, and not just the full text reviews, is that when you look at your book on Amazon, you'll notice that the text says the number and then ratings rather than reviews. So it does seem that all star ratings are now being included. So thanks to Gemma Hatt for the heads up on that. And of course, if you head over to the Indie Author Mindset Facebook group, you can join in the discussion there on that topic and lots of others. It's a wonderful community. We've got, I think, getting on for a couple of thousand members now, all helping each other, all completely free. Wonderful little community over there. So please do go and check out the Indie Author Mindset Facebook group. In that group this week, I shared a blog post that I found from, and I apologise in advance for the pronunciation here, from Vania Margine Rio. Don't know if that's how the name is pronounced, but that's my best stab at it at the moment, I'm afraid. In the post, Vania deconstructs Written Word Media's recent author survey, analysing their data and getting to the bottom of what you need to do to have a successful career as an indie author. So Written Word Media, they surveyed indie authors of all levels of experience and asked them a number of questions about their careers in order to try and get to the bottom of what the most successful authors are doing, and to try and find out essentially what you need to do to have a successful indie author career in 2019, 2020 and beyond. And some of the conclusions are really quite fascinating. Some of them are, as you'd expect, that the big names use professional editors, they use professional cover designers, but it does go a lot more in depth than that. I shared one blog post that Vania wrote deconstructing what the survey had got to the bottom of, but I think personally it's well worth exploring the whole blog series that Vania's done on this, because it makes for fascinating reading, and it can really help put you in the right mindset for success in 2020. So highly recommend you head over and have a look at that in the Indie Author Mindset Facebook group. One of the things that I found most fascinating that came out of that survey and out of this article is the amount of time that the successful authors actually spend writing per week. Now, lots of people come to me and they mention what they're doing with their ads and their marketing and this, that and the other, and I think a lot of authors actually spend so much time worrying about how to sell their books, they're not spending enough time on writing them. And I always say to everybody, no matter what the size of your audience, we've all got one. We've all got readers, whether that's a couple of uncles or a mailing list of 100,000 people. We've all got an audience there, and the only guaranteed way to gain more readers, to gain some money, to sell some books, even if it's only a couple of copies, is to write another book. And at the end of the day, the main thing you are is an author, is a writer. The other side of things, selling those books, comes second. And let me tell you, it's a hell of a lot easier to sell them if you've got some out there. And the more you've got, the easier it gets too. And that seems to be backed up by this study that Written Word Media did, which shows that on average emerging authors spend somewhere between 15 and 20 hours a week writing. People who earn around 60,000 US dollars a year spend about 28 hours a week writing, and the six-figure authors generally spend about 32 hours a week writing. So that is, it's basically a full-time job just on the writing side of things. The marketing, for those people, only seems to really take up probably, what's that going to be, about an hour or two a day, something like that, at best. And if they're spending the rest of their time writing and treating it like the full-time job they should be, then they are the people that are hitting the 100k plus in terms of their revenue from their books. So really interesting stuff. Just goes to show really that having that right mindset, having that right attitude to sit down each day, to get that writing done, to get productive, it really does make a difference. The data there from that study completely backs that up. And productivity is something we're going to have a look at much more over the next few episodes, and throughout 2020 we're going to be having a much closer look at the psychology side of things for writers, how writers can get more productive, at productivity hacks, ways of writing more, getting more done, getting into that right mindset, not just from a business point of view, but from a creativity point of view as well, because your business relies on its product, and your product is books, and those books are they consist of words which you have to get written each day in order to get those products out there. So we'll be looking at that much more over the next few weeks. So I wanted to drop that little seed in there for you now. And now we come to the subject of the Indie Author Mindset podcast, Ninja Tip the thing that I wish I'd never introduced, and I'm starting to regret having to come up with something every week now. But we'll do our best. Here's this week's Ninja Tip. We're on mailing lists again this week. Any emails you send which elicit some sort of response from the reader are gold dust. One of the measures email providers use for determining spammers is to look at the level of interaction and response to emails. If lots of your subscribers respond to you or interact with your emails in some way, you'll get much higher deliverability rates in future because your emails will look like the sort of emails your friends send, which you will reply to, which you will act on. They won't look like spammy newsletters which just get ignored. Now this is crucial because when you've got a new book out, the difference between 20% of your subscribers opening the email and 40% opening the email is not 20%. It's 100% more. That's double the number of subscribers. A jump in deliverability from 20% to 40% would, in effect, double your sales from your newsletter. So big tip, that one this week. Now, as it is nearly Christmas, I've got a little Christmas present for you. As a listener to the Indie Author Mindset podcast, you are entitled to a massive 50% discount off of any of my Indie Author Mindset mini courses. If you head over to courses.indieauthormindset.com, you can have a look at the courses that are available there. We've got one on writing killer blurbs and hooks. We've got one on selling more books wide. There's a course for beginners on getting your book up on Amazon KDP, calculating read-through, lots of different courses up there and more being added all the time. And that exclusive discount is for you as an Indie Author Mindset podcast listener. If you enter the promo code podcast, when you're checking out, you'll get any course, or even all courses if you like, at half price. That's an offer that's not available anywhere else, so please do head over to courses.indieauthormindset.com, see if any of them take your fancy. Any courses that you buy are yours for life, so you can enroll now. You'll have access now until forever, and any updates that are made to that course will be automatically reflected in your school profile as well, so you don't need to worry about upgrading or anything like that. When new versions come out, you'll get all of that automatically as a course student for life. Thank you very much for listening to episode 3 of the Indie Author Mindset podcast. As I said earlier, I'm very keen that this podcast gives you exactly what you need from it. So if you have any suggestions or topics you'd like me to cover, questions you want me to answer, or anything else at all, just fire me an email at podcast@indieauthormindset.com or catch me in the Indie Author Mindset Facebook group. Please do remember to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And I'll see you back here next time for episode 4. This episode of the Indie Author Mindset podcast was presented by me, Adam Croft. The theme music for this podcast is by the Caesareans. Don't forget you can claim 50% off any Indie Author Mindset course by entering the promo code podcast at the checkout. Links are in the show notes. For more great tips and guidance, join the Indie Author Mindset group on Facebook.